So I remember there was this guy that I used to hook up with pretty frequently. Not every single month, maybe like once or twice every other month or so. And it was always the same routine, right? Like I'm laying in bed, I'm scrolling on my phone, looking at what everyone else is doing. At the same time, my TV is also going. Who knows what's on the screen, but it's probably something that I don't have to really watch too intently. Is that the word? Then I would get a little ding on my phone. And by a little ding, I mean, I would almost immediately know exactly who that ding was from, mainly because like when I was on the apps, like back in the day, I wasn't someone who talked to a whole lot of people. Like I was never the type of guy who would just kind of go through profiles, just like tap, hey, done, tap, hey, like that was not me. I was selective. I like gourmet. I was looking for my caviar. And I wouldn't leave too many conversations open-ended. Like most of the time, if I was done talking to you, I was done talking to you. And you knew that I was done talking to you. And so I knew that if I got a new message and I hadn't been on the app, say all day, it was most definitely from this guy. And let's call this guy, Reginald. Reginald. That sounds like he eats caviar. Reginald. Now, once I got that message, I would chat with him back and forth, you know, just about mundane, stupid, random small talk stuff. Mainly not even to like entertain him, but just to like really give myself time to ponder as to whether or not I wanted to do what was necessary to have this encounter. So I would take a deep breath, I would let out my sigh that comes from like deep within, and I would be like, all right, like let's get up, let's make this happen. So I would get out of bed, I would shower, do all that good stuff, and then I would go into my special drawer that had all of my like outfit, and I would put on my, you know, all my different things. I don't want to give myself away, but at times it was multiple pieces. Then I would put on my sweats and put on a hoodie or whatever and then be on my way. Then I would get in my car, drive to his house. I would spend probably 5-10 minutes looking for parking and feeling kind of nervous because I'm in like a sketchy neighborhood. It's dark. There's like nobody around. So I find a spot, turn my car off, and I just sit in silence. I would really ponder on the thought like, do I really want this? Like, even though I'm here, I spent the gas to like get here. Like, is it really necessary? Like, do I really want this? And it's like, you know what? I put in the work. I'm gonna receive my gift. So that's that. So I would open up the app, mainly because I want him to know that I'm nearby, especially considering that you know that he's been tracking every freaking mile to see where I'm at this whole, like, wondering if I'm still coming, you know? And then I would message him, hey, I'm outside. So he lets me in. We have a quick little, you know, small talk conversation like, how are you? How was your day? Oh, I smell fish. Like, did you make tilapia tonight? And he's just like, yeah. Like, I also had shrimp. Do you want some? And I'm like, no. And then I just let it. My best friend would always tell me that I needed to wear like a big, you know, like coat so that I could just like just have like this like big like reveal moment. But coats are expensive. So yeah, I had the big reveal and then we got to work. And I remember always feeling like, this is so fun. Like I'm having a blast. This is a really like super intense, fun, passionate hangout sesh. And I don't know, I never wanted it to end while I was in it. But unfortunately, I was never really prepared for what always seemed to happen next. We would wake up, you know, usually around 6 or 7 a.m. because he had to go to work. We would say our goodbyes. I would leave, do my walk of shame to my car, sit in my car for a second like, jeez, wow, oh my gosh. And then I would start my drive home. The rumor on the street is that sometimes my car would be seen at the neighborhood McDonald's in the drive-thru at 7:30 a.m. getting a sausage McMuffin with no egg. But that's a rumor, and I don't believe rumors.
Hello, Grace Mountain.
Creamer, 3 creams. This is fine. A McMuffin is like 150 calories or something, so I'm just gonna run really hard at the gym. It's gonna be great. But then I would get home, I would sit on the couch and just feel awful. Like awful, like not great, like I'm not having fun, like I'm not having a good time. Like I just had this like really gross, sticky, icky feeling like wash over me. And what was the most frustrating thing about it is that I could never really pinpoint exactly why I felt that way. You know, on a romantic level, like I think we both knew that this was not that. Me and Reginald knew that we just were not meant to, we didn't have a romantic connection. Like our connection was strictly physical. Neither one of us really wanted anything serious to come from this. It was kind of just like, you know, a means to an end. Is that the phrase? You know, it was just kind of like, hey, this sounds great, so let's do that. I had a lot of fun while I was there. I enjoyed my time there, and then I would get to go home, basically continue on with my life without any attachments or any, you know, any expectations or responsibilities. So why do I now feel like I've been hit by a semi-truck? And it's embarrassing to even say, but it was awful to the point of like, it was hard to get things done in a day. Like there were a lot of times where we would, you know, hang out on a Saturday. And so I would go home and then have all of Sunday to basically like to myself without any things to do or whatever. And I just would be like, boo-hooing all day. Like I just would be crying all day. Like boo-hooing, like yuck. After that happened a few times, I had to really, you know, sit with myself and accept the fact that if I wanted to figure out exactly why I felt that way after these encounters with him, I had to really look inward and ask myself, like, what about this experience is so fun while it's happening, but makes me feel so low once it's over? My first thought, and I'm sure you've had this thought too, is like, maybe it's because I'm just lonely. Like, you know, when you're with, what's his name? Reginald. When I was with Reginald, like I felt desired. Like it was a moment in time where it was like a couple of hours where I really felt like someone wanted me, where I felt like when I looked in his eyes, he wanted to go into the refrigerator, grab the A1 sauce, and pour it all over me. Like he wanted to eat me like a piece of meat. Like I felt so wanted. And now I'm back home, laying on the couch or in my bed by myself. I also was like, well, maybe I'm just allowing society's view of, you know, casual hookups, promiscuity, you know, affect the way that I feel about that thing. Because I don't think it's a secret that while we are getting, you know, more and more, I guess, progressive as time goes on and just more open sexually, I still feel like there is kind of this cloud over casual hookups where it's still sort of looked down upon, and at times that can definitely affect how we feel about ourselves if we partake in that activity. And the last thought that I had that I think is relatable is that maybe I just felt used. Like maybe I just felt like I was, you know, treated like a Capri Sun. Like someone sucked all the juice out and then threw me away. But honestly, like if I'm being totally honest, like we kind of used each other. I need something, you need something, you have what I need and I have what you need. All of those things are valid. And if you've been in a similar situation where you had like a, you know, a one night stand, a casual hookup, and you went home and you felt awful afterwards, it's very possible that one, two, or all three of those things were the reason why. And maybe we're just not cut out for the whole hookup thing. So I'm laying on the couch, crying, wondering why I can't do this, like why I am not wired like a lot of people my age. It really had me thinking like, you know what? I don't know that this is for me. I don't know that this experience is one that I can handle emotionally. And then it hit me like, that's not the full truth. I thought back to what my life was like when I had just graduated high school. Like I was 18 years old. I had had a couple of little experiences in high school, but nothing really substantial. Like nothing, you know, that I really even remember. But once I turned 18, like, I'm not gonna tell you all my business. Like I'm not gonna air out all my, you know, all of my secrets, all of my mysteries. But I will say that like once I hit legal age, I was out here. Like out here. And thinking back on those times, I don't remember feeling awful after hookups whatsoever. Like actually, it was kind of the opposite. After meeting up with a guy, I always felt energized. I was always super excited once I got back home, and my first order of business was to call my best friend and basically tell him in detail from A to Z what had just happened. I don't know, back then maybe it was just because I was a little more naive than I am now, but I viewed hookups as an opportunity to connect with people. I don't know, I just saw it as a fun way of getting to know and enjoying life with other people. I know that might sound crazy to some of you, but it's my truth. Like I would talk to someone for hours, days, I was gonna say weeks, but that ain't true, before I met up with them. And then, you know, we would meet up and talk for literally like 2-3 hours, and then maybe fool around a bit, and then mid hangout, like talk for another 30 minutes to an hour. And then afterwards, like it really felt like I got to know someone on a much deeper level because we were already being pretty vulnerable with each other. And there were a few times where those encounters actually made me friends with people. Like, I'll be honest, like I can probably count on one hand the amount of friends that I've had that I've hooked up with in the past. And most of them we're not like best friends, but I would still consider them friends. And those connections would not have happened had we not connected through this app. When people talk about hooking up, I feel like the conversation oftentimes has this like black and white perspective. On one hand, you were either just not meant for hooking up, emotionally you can't handle it, you're just not wired that way. And then on the other hand, it's like you have this, what's it called, a black book? I don't know. You have this roster of like, you know, people that you are constantly jumping to, you know, put your thing in everyone's thing, or everyone's putting their thing in your things. You are the most like sexually liberated person, and like instead of a lemonade stand, you basically just have a stand where you sell your goodies to whoever will buy you a Big Mac afterwards. I've gone back and forth with myself about whether or not I am the type of person who has the emotional capability to handle one-night stands or these casual hookups, or if I'm just someone who needs to seek romantic relationships that are only platonic at first because I need a real connection to enjoy experiencing someone physically. But I think I've come to the conclusion that honestly, it just depends. I believe that we should let go of this idea that, you know, there's this one size fits all approach to having, you know, a lot of random encounters or having none at all. Just because you can put your thing in everything and you can let people put their things in your things, and many people around you are doing that, doesn't mean you have to. But also, like, if you enjoy getting a little wet and you like the, you know, spontaneity and connecting with people in that way, like, as long as you are going to work, clocking in, putting gas in your tank, being nice to people, and getting tested frequently enough, like, do you. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to, you know, basically give you permission to not think that you are just one way or the other. It can be both, especially considering that humans are super complex, and the way that you feel about this topic is going to change based on your age, but also where you are at in your life currently. For example, let's say you're talking to someone, it's been platonic so far, but you're really interested in a romantic relationship with them. You going and having hookups on the side might make you feel bad afterward because you feel like you're disrespecting the person that you are trying to see long term. But on the flip side, say you've been seeing somebody for a couple of years or whatever, and now you are single, you have to figure out what life is like as a single person again, and you want to, you know, go out and just spread your seed everywhere, or take all the seeds. We're talking about gardening. That might be the perfect time to, you know, start seeing what's out there, hitting up your old contacts, jumping on the apps, like just doing what you gotta do to remember what you like and who you are. So if you've been struggling with this recently, this is what I recommend you do. First, really think about where you stand when it comes to hooking up in this current season of your life. Think about all of your past experiences. Think about how you felt after your hookups. Think about how you felt once a hookup opportunity was presented to you and you said no. Like, really use your past mixed with your current thoughts to figure out how you want to navigate your body and your relationships in the future. And number two, really think about if your thoughts on hooking up, promiscuity, casual sex, think about if the thoughts that you have are your real thoughts, or if they are thoughts that have been placed on you by, say, society or your family, your friends, whatever it is. We're getting older, we're trying to find ourselves, and so we have to basically almost fight against that internal shame that we feel that for a lot of us honestly has prolonged our journey in just figuring out who we are, what we like and what we don't like. I don't know. I'm really happy that I've grown and kind of come to this understanding that people are complex. People are weird. Like, the way you feel about hooking up now could be totally different than in an hour. Like, shoot, you could have felt one way before watching this video and now you feel a totally different way about it. Life moves fast, so do our minds and our emotions, so be easy on yourself. Like, you don't have to have this figured out by tomorrow, but you know, the next time you hear, take a couple extra minutes for yourself to really make sure that you feel like getting out of bed and going over to that man's house. If you made it this far, I love you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you want to see more content from me, please subscribe. And if you want to see more videos, more of this face right now, there's a video right here waiting for you. I know you want it, and I want you to want it. So yeah, I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in the next one.